Hello everyone! I'm Peyton.
And I'm Anna.
And welcome back to our podcast.
This week we're going to be unfolding the idea of failure.
I know, you guys probably heart
Cringe.
sink. I hate that word every time.
Yes.
It's dark in my mind.
Yeah.
What color do you see failure in your mind?
Definitely black.
I was thinking black or red.
I was literally going to say red, like blood. Not that we're killing anyone, but just black and red.
Kills our dreams. Failing.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to discuss today.
Mm-hmm.
We have a bunch of notes jotted down, but...
Yeah, we're going to kind of just get into it and kind of talk on our take of it and what we think the better take on it should be and kind of going forward in our experiences with failure.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of wanted to start similar to our episode on motivation with the exact definition of failure. And that is simply lack of success. When we first heard that, we were like, excuse me? Is there more?
Yeah, it was seriously lack of success, period.
Yes.
That's the end.
Yes.
3 words. That's how you describe failure,
Mm-hmm.
which is this thing that everyone's so afraid of. And I thought that was crazy because we give the word failure so much power.
I agree.
And it's you're literally defined in 3 words. Okay,
Yeah.
let's chill.
Yeah, which takes away, it doesn't need to have so much power over us.
No.
So it's so broad and we don't even care. And then it's also given a very arbitrary word as well.
That was a big word.
Sorry.
I
tried to smooth through that, but if you couldn't
We
tell.
sound smart.
Yeah. We're growing week by week, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the reading we've been doing.
Book club. Anyone want to join? Let us know. No one else has joined, so it's just us two.
We don't need anyone
And
else.
our friends that we talk about the book with, and they don't care. So.
They do not care. They're not. They make fun of us.
Yep.
Georgia.
We're talking about our fairies and our wings.
Anyway, we need to chill so we don't get made fun of here.
We know you guys out there have big dreams like us.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So anyway, what was it?
We were talking about how in the definition of failure, there's the word of success, which I think also success is so broad and individualized that you kind of have to look into that as well when you're thinking of what failure is. And it's also interesting that they use two broad terms in the same exact thing, which is really weird to me.
Yeah, I was going to say also I like the word individualized because not only is failure an individual thing, but it's also success is an individual thing. And those are 2 sides of the same spectrum, but you used one of them to kind of describe the other one, so I feel that was really weird.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to succeed, obviously, but I think success is just kind of what you think it is.
Yes.
And that is what succeeding is.
And I think that goes hand in hand with motivation and everything and how what you perceive as achievement and growth, I think, is kind of how you also perceive success. Because depending on how your process is of growing and achieving things will impact how you feel you failed or succeeded. And those are kind of, I feel like those are seen as black and white, very separate concepts, where honestly I think they need to go hand in hand because you don't get success without failure.
Right.
And obviously failure is normal and you need to address it. So I think that they need to be kind of more conjoined rather than separate.
I also think just everyone thinks they know that. Everyone's yeah, people have told me before, try again until you succeed. But you really need to take it in your mind and just kind of think about it a little bit more. And I think that's why everyone's still so scared of failing, which it is a scary thing. Don't get me wrong. It's not I'm not, giving failure less power, but it's almost
you need to have the power in yourself to kind of battle the power that failure has over you.
I agree.
Being aware and confident in yourself. So that was kind of what we thought was interesting with the idea of success and failure together. So kind of interesting to reflect on what you think failure is and what you think is success is and kind of put those together when you're thinking of your experiences with failure and success.
Yeah.
But also with how powerful failure is, we think that a huge part of that is the emotions that come with failure. And I think that those should also be addressed when you're thinking of what you think failure is. And there's so many, ups, downs, everything is just, failure does not deserve this type of definition because it's so complex, I feel.
Yeah, it's so broad. I feel when you're describing things, you're not even describing failure at that point. And you just think in your mind that's what it is. And you're well, I'm not succeeding, so I'm failing. But is that really what you're doing?
It's such that dark term too, and you're ugh, great, I failed.
Yeah, and even if you think you're failing, like to someone else, that doesn't mean that you're failing.
No.
Like, I feel like if someone misses a shot or something, we're in sports. If someone misses a shot, they think they failed. But then if someone else is like missing a shot, they're like, well, at least I'm on the field. Like, I'm succeeding. I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
It was just like an accident that I messed up. So
Well,
it is like your mindset, just like motivation was. So I feel like that's something to think about.
And I think that a really interesting thing that I was thinking of is how we talked about mini goals and achieving those. You're also going to have many failures along the way. And so by using
like the other end of the spectrum.
So instead of where mini goals you should use to catapult yourself forward and use as motivation, the mini failures you kind of are the ones that need to go hand in hand with those.
Yeah.
And what you need to learn from, not just disregard them, but you need to not let them drag you down. You need to learn from them and use them as stepping stones just as you use the mini goals, which I think is really important.
That's a really good... That was awesome.
I'm not going to lie, I thought of that, like, as we were walking over here, I was like, I should probably write this down, but then I just remembered it right now.
Nice.
But also an example that we had of that, honestly, would be our max benching today.
Oh my gosh, that is a good example too.
We did that today with our entire team, and everyone was so supportive, and like people were cheering. It was awesome.
Everyone was cheering us on. That was so great.
It was so cool. But honestly, like, I achieved way more than I ever achieved. But then you do your last one to fail, and it's called a fail. Like you failed your bench press, but we both went higher than we were expected to in our bench press.
So basically we do, like, obviously we all lift together, and then our strength coach, he'll write down from our previous weeks what our like max would technically be. Like, so today we did 1 rep of like the highest weight that you've done, and then you, like, if you succeed, you keep going until you think, not even you think, like,
no,
until
you just go until
fail.
you can't do it.
So, I'm over here, I think like 95 pounds was what he had written on my paper. So I did it easily. I did it 2 reps. And I was like, oh, like, I could go heavier.
Yeah.
I went to 105, okay, did 1, and it seemed pretty easy. So then I decided, instead of adding just 2.5 weight on each side, 2.5 pounds, I took the jump. I took the leap of faith. I put 5 pounds on each side, got it down, almost took out my head. My neck almost came off.
We almost decapitated Peyton today in the weight room.
We almost did not have another episode of this podcast.
Don't worry, the same thing happened to me. So
yeah, so then like the girl that was spotting me, she just lifted it right up. I was actually more impressed by the fact she lifted it up so easily. I was like, oh my god, I thought I was gonna die.
Thank you for saving my life. I owe you.
Thank you, Josie.
Yeah, seriously.
Queen.
The same, because she did mine too.
Yeah.
But I think that concept is super interesting because even though you achieved something right before that, you achieved your mini goal.
I succeeded in surpassing my previous bench, but I ended up failing because I went too heavy and then like I couldn't get the
And the people surrounding us though didn't care. Like
no,
they were like, "Wow, like you did great today," and like
some laughs, but it's like I was laughing.
All right, like, nice try, Faith. Like
almost died.
Yeah, but it wasn't a failure in their mind, and I think that usage of failure is also so interesting because it's a fail, but like you achieved to be able to even try that. And I think that is a super interesting and applicable concept to why failure should be addressed and accepted more rather than just like pushed down. And I think anyone that lifts, I think, can completely relate to that and how it's used. And
I don't even think failure needs to technically be accepted. I think you just shouldn't let it eat at you and tear you down. So you need to be like equal with, like you need to coexist with failure.
Yes,
you need to just live with it, like it's gonna happen, and you can't just like focus on how you failed all the time because then you're just gonna keep failing. You're never gonna grow. You need to just overcome failure.
Yes, and it's gonna pull you back down rather than build you up with the mini goals, which would be way more beneficial. But I think also, though, getting back on track with the emotions, I think some emotions that go with failure are like lack of self-worth almost. Like you start to get really down on yourself, and then you get in your head and you start to get all like the negativity and negativity. We're spending too much time together. But all of those negative words that people think of, I think, is why when we said failure, probably so many people were like, ugh, failure, great.
Yeah, great.
Shudder down their spine.
Yeah, seriously, it gives me such a dark place. I'm like, ugh.
We're heading to the black and red void that failure is.
Failure. But that's not what it should be. Like,
No.
Everyone lives with it. It happens. We're all going to hit it one day, so.
So I think kind of going into our next point was we kind of wanted to discuss personal experiences with failure. And I think that that's also where we can kind of hit on the emotions that we were feeling during that piece of failure. So if you want to go first.
Mine, okay, so the story that I thought of, it just hit my brain immediately when you think, I'm sure everyone listening to this, when you think of a story that has happened to you, a past experience of when you failed or you felt that you failed, I'm sure that one story just hits your brain. So this is the one that happened to me. It was my senior year of high school, and my high school soccer team was like ranked really well. We were set to do very well in our state like series.
Yeah.
So the very first game, I can probably tell you every single thing that happened. My center back got a red card.
Yeah.
I had to play center back.
Started at the bottom already right there.
Yeah, she like chased a girl down and almost like, she was like gonna swing a punch, and I was like, well, if you're gonna get a red card, you might as well have punched her.
Like go through it. Own that bad boy.
Yeah. So that happened already. So I'm sure she thinks she failed us, but you know what I mean. It's funny that everyone has a different perspective of this game. But anyway, we go into PKs, and I'm the captain of the team, so I go last in our PK.
Which is, so you were the fifth one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's horrible. Basically, they scored every single PK they took.
Oh my gosh.
And then
Extra.
I think we made one. One person made the PK, and
so
it was like
1 to 4 when it got to you?
Actually, no, I lied. They did not make every single one.
Yeah, they had to have missed because the game would have been over by then.
I think our goalie like either saved one or like
something
they
happened.
Missed or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, it did come down to me. But if I would have made it, we would have went to another round.
Yeah. So it was all or nothing basically.
It was all or nothing for me. The girl in front of me had just missed.
Oh gosh.
The goalie saved it. The goalie was saving all of ours too. We weren't missing. The goalie saved every single one.
So the momentum was with them, and like the adrenaline was there, everyone was hype, and then you're like, oh shoot, I was like,
oh my gosh. And I wasn't nervous because I'm a really good PK taker, and I knew that, so I was like, okay, whatever. The girl that went in front of me missed, and she goes the same way I do, which is like not that big of a deal, like it doesn't matter. And then I just like kicked it. It wasn't the best PK ever. It was not really buried in the corner, and then the goalie saved it.
Oh, gosh.
And I literally collapsed on the spot and started crying. It's so emotional. And then later, the team that we were playing, they posted on Facebook their video of them, like, winning their first game, and it's me missing my PK. Yeah. Like, that's them winning. So it's, like, me, and then I fall, and they all run, like, around me. And like celebrate the goalie because the goalie saved it.
Yeah, it is awesome and cool for them. But I think I always think of March Madness, the basketball tournament, because everyone puts their heart out in something like that, and they probably have so many interesting feelings of failure in that time. And they always highlight the happiness, obviously, because that's what it's for. But the sadness and the other side of it is... Oh my gosh,
it was horrible. Yeah. I seriously... And, like, that was just me feeling like I let the team down, obviously. But then if you look back, like, other people missed their PKs. You know, we should have scored our opportunities in the actual game. You know, center back shouldn't have gotten a red card. Just...
It happens.
And it all happens. But, like, even now, me talking about that and looking back, I still feel like I failed. Even though I'm saying that out loud, that I'm like, oh, other people also. Like, that doesn't matter to me. I'm just like, I felt like I let my team down.
But you're coexisting with it now, and you overcome, and you still take PKs.
Right, like I'd probably be crying about it right now if like I didn't overcome it.
Yeah, so. And you still played soccer. Like you woke up and you still had the same friends. And
funny story. After I took that PK, you know, I'm sad. I was sad for like 3 weeks, bawling every time I thought about soccer. Later, I went to like my club team because that was obviously the end of high school, so club was starting, and we went to nationals, and then in a game like. We got a PK, so I was like, I'm taking it. I literally looked at my coach. I was like,
Good for you.
I'm literally taking it.
Good for you.
Yeah. And then my dad recorded it. First off, I don't think anyone should ever record a PK because my dad has, I think, 2 on his phone that I've missed because he's recorded when I was, like, really little.
All right. Well.
Don't record my PKs.
Yep, ever. Just so we know.
Yeah.
So we'll get it for you.
Huh?
The huddle will get it for you.
Yeah. So then I went up to take it, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, do I go the same way? Like, I didn't make it last time. Yeah, you start freaking out.
And it's also hard because you said you were so confident before.
Yeah, I was. I was not nervous.
Yeah.
So then I went up at Nationals, and I buried it. I hit it upper 90. It, like, hit, like, the bar and bounced back at me, like, the inner bar. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, take that.
Wish I could have done that earlier, but I did it now. So I think that's a good, like, example of me overcoming the fear of missing, like the fear of failing again.
You ended up succeeding when you did it, which is like that continuous growth forward with your goals, with your failure.
Because I really do think it was like a setback, but even now I'm way better at PKs than I was when I was missing, and I was already confident in my PK ability. Obviously my team was too, or else I wouldn't be up there. And then now it was just a little step back, and then now I'm way up here. Like,
when your confidence has probably grown even more too, and that is what part of failure is. And I think that confidence growth goes in with success.
Yeah, and now I can like say I'm not ashamed that I missed it. Like I'm like, yeah, happens. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So that was like one moment that probably stood out to you. That's a story.
That was my moment that I felt like I failed, and now I've overcome it. So
yeah.
Now it's your turn. What was your moment?
So honestly, we kind of, because we were kind of just debriefing our episode coming up, and I kind of thought of mine, and mine honestly isn't a moment. It was a moment, but it was a collective building moment, I feel like, and it was also high school.
Yeah, I think these are two good examples, because mine's just like a moment that happened, and hers is like collectively it was happening.
So our high school team, we were decent. I thought we were pretty good generally, but we would always finish second place in conference, regardless. It was either to Oswego East, which was our rival, so that was also heartbreaking, and then, or Plainfield North, which is another school. They were fantastic our senior year, so that was crazy. But regardless, we'd always finish second. So we never won a conference title. We never won a regional title. We never won a crosstown while I was there. They did that the year before I got there and the year after I got there.
Oh, of course.
So, yeah. Not that, it's just, I don't know. So, that had kind of been weighing on my mind. I was achieving all my individual goals, but to me, soccer is so much more important than that. Like, being a team and achieving something as a team.
And that's why it's so great.
Yeah. And we, like, when we won the OVC tournament, like, as a team, that was the coolest thing I have ever experienced. But that was, like, awesome. But anyways, so we get to my last game. I'll preface for you guys. This is my last game senior year. Okay. It's our regional semifinal, so it's like first round. We didn't play the plan. We achieved that. So we're playing this Wednesday, and we had already beat the team that we were playing, and I didn't play in that game beforehand because I was injured. My back was hurt. So they had played them previously. They beat them. Like, we were confident going into this game, and I wasn't that worried. I was ready. It was a cool experience, and I was ready to play. It did not end up going well. We did not end up winning. It was just a terrible performance by us, and that's kind of bitter to think that was my last high school experience ever, because high school meant so much to me, and it was so much fun, and I made so many friends, and I just feel like it did leave an impact on my program, and to have to say goodbye like that was so upsetting. But after that game, I was also like done. Like, I had scored, I had worked hard as I could. I left everything on the field, but it was all just over, and I felt that while I was on the team, we didn't achieve anything. Like, there was no number on the board. It was a huge thing in my school. There's all the sports, and you have like conference, regional, state, and they just put the year that you do it. Girls soccer was empty, so that was always like humbling, honestly.
And every time you saw it, it was like daunting. You're like, okay, yeah.
Well, we didn't get freshman year, so that was a year I was confident we were going to do really well. But then sophomore year
that's
comes.
What we always talk about too. We would have done so well.
Yeah. What it could have been.
Freaking
but anyways,
COVID.
Yeah. So sophomore year, didn't win anything. Junior year, didn't win anything. Senior year, I was like, okay, like, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself.
It's like last chance.
And we didn't win conference, so I was like, okay, regional title, like, we have to do something. And then it was also like crosstown, and we didn't win, and it was just so like draining. Even though at the time I had broken my scoring records at school, like, I was having a great time individually, but what mattered to me was the team, and we weren't achieving anything. So when that whistle blew and we had lost and my season was over, part of it, I think, was also that I was saying goodbye to something that I loved so much and I was never going to get to do it again. But at the same time, I think looking back on it, I was so upset that I didn't help my school achieve anything during my time there.
Yeah.
And I almost felt selfish because I was achieving everything individually that I wanted to.
I was going to say, I feel like that's interesting that you just, I feel like people probably do this more often than not, where they just brush past their successes to, like, focus on the failure that's happening.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like before your season 2, you were like, so I wonder if you were anxious, like feeling and at all because the fear of failure was like hitting you.
I honestly think it was anxiousness, and I also think it was like, I had the belief though that we would achieve something.
Yeah, like you were let down.
Yeah, and
that is what failing is.
Yeah, like I had goals and we didn't achieve them, and that's okay. But it impacted me. I was bawling after the game. Everyone was crying. All my friends were crying, and one of my friends, she had missed the game. One of my very good friends, she was injured. And so she missed the game to go to our like senior awards night or something. And I had missed it because I was like, God forbid we lose. Like, I don't want to be not able to say that I was there at my last soccer game.
Yeah.
And then I went, and then it was our last soccer game, and I felt bad because she wasn't there. There were just a lot of feelings of failure in that time. Like, we were expected to win. We didn't do anything while I was at school, and that feeling had kind of grown over the years. And then that collective moment, I think I just crashed. And you can ask my mom, I was like in my kitchen hyperventilating still, like probably an hour or two after the game, like just freaking out, like, oh, I didn't do enough, like I should have done better, and like, why didn't we do this and this? And in the end, I'm here still.
Yeah.
I know
it's just a memory now.
It's just a memory, and it still makes me upset, but it's like I learned from that. And also, not everything is about those types of goals.
I was also going to say, I think it's interesting, we just basically said the same story, but we were focused on different things that happened. I wasn't even focused on my performance. I was focused on my last moment. And then you were focused on like
the whole collective
experience of the game and of your season.
Yeah, and the 2 seasons, like my entire high school experience.
Right, like I never looked at it as me being a failure because, I mean, I also didn't achieve, like I didn't win anything during my years there, but I didn't think of that as being the failure. I thought of like me, myself letting the team down. Like you cared mainly about your team.
Yeah, and like the school, like I was so upset that I didn't, because even in basketball, I was never there to win anything that would show that we won something. And like just not being able to do something like that for my school that I loved playing for was what tore me down, I think.
I feel like that's me, like the opposite though. I was only focused on like me and what I didn't contribute. I didn't like score that goal.
Yeah.
And like even if I would have scored that goal, that would have been, you know, we would have went through another round, but it would have been like I would have saved the day. Like that would have been awesome, but yeah, it just didn't work out that way. So,
well, I think looking back though, and I think being able to overcome that, we can also go back and look at the support of others. Like I have girls that will be on the team now, and or like my sister will tell me, like they're like, oh yeah, Anna was great, like, or the coach will come up to me and just be like, oh, I miss watching you play, like we loved having you here when you were here. And it's stuff like that I know that.
And they don't bring up,
no one cares. I don't honestly think anybody cares that happened besides probably me. And I'm just sitting here like, I lingered on it forever, and I was like, I'll never play soccer again for them, and I didn't do anything. But I did do something. I left my mark, and I think that being able to accept that I did fail in that, but I succeeded in this is kind of how you have to find that balance between success and failure.
I agree. And focusing on not brushing past those successes, like we're doing now, we could say that because we've had a lot of time to reflect on it, but I think trying to focus on reflecting on that in the moment, like looking at the positives, which is easier said than done, but it's something that I think everyone needs to work towards. To work towards. I guess I said it right, but no one says it like
towards.
that. So
yeah.
Towards.
You said it exactly how you're supposed to. Like, towards.
TOWARDS. Towards.
It's like when you have like we should add the like pronunciation, like failure. Failure is what we should like have in the definition.
What is that called? Like the phonemic?
Oh yeah, phonetic.
Yes. Phonetic spelling.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we'll start adding that. motivation.
Hey, Peyton, watching this, cut that out. They can't know. Yeah.
That's actually funny. So I think moving forward from that too, we kind of addressed how people will focus on different moments and different experiences, but I think everyone will have an example of each. Because
I think so too. Oh yeah, that's a good.
Like these are the ones we thought, and we were two different ones. But I think that if we really thought like I have a moment that comes to my mind, and you probably have an experience that comes to your mind, which is so cool too, that we all have that similarity, but they're all going to be different experiences. And honestly, we could be experiencing the exact same event, and you could have felt you failed, and I could have felt I succeeded.
Yeah. I also feel like this was almost therapeutic, sharing it out loud to like someone, because once you do that, you know, your brain, sometimes it's a scary place. Sometimes you just have these thoughts and it's like, oh my gosh, like I just let everyone down. Everyone's looking at me, like face is red, I'm embarrassed. Like they're only going to see me in this way now. Like I let them down. And then like you say it out loud, like to your mom, to your dad, to your sisters. You're just like, you tell them what happened, how you're feeling, and they're just like, bro, really?
Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
It's always like, the world's spinning tomorrow. Just keep going. It's fine.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, they could have bad reactions, but at the end of the day, that should be the reaction. The world's spinning. No one's thinking about it.
No. We still love you. We're still your parents.
Right. Right. Like, what?
And again, we're talking about this, but like, no one else probably taught. Like,
right.
It's not something that, and it's not something we think about every day either. Like, I don't even remember the last time it actually was this past weekend, because I went home and shout out Oswego Girls Soccer. They won their first tournament championship.
So that's the last time you thought about it?
So yeah, but that's okay. I no hard feelings, because I've overcome that feeling of failure, and I'm very happy for them now.
This is genuinely like the first time I've thought about it since not since it's happened, but probably since my senior year of high school, because it's almost like I trauma blocked it in my brain, and now it's back.
That's what failure does to you, though, and failure is a really hard thing to overcome, I think.
I think so too.
And kind of what we were talking about too, we thought it was also really interesting to think about letting yourself down versus letting others down.
Right.
Which I think we both were very letting our others down. I think that also impacted us in our specific scenarios, but in other scenarios, they're going to be more personal goals, and I think that relates to the goals and the success that you have for yourself. Or if it's goals and success that people are expecting of you. And if you don't achieve that, and then you'll feel failure for others too.
I feel like this one could do, like, an example that comes to my brain would be school. For like myself.
I agree.
Because, you know, if you study really hard for a test, like obviously you're putting so much energy and effort towards something that you want to achieve. You want to succeed in the test, get an A, and then you like get a bad grade, and I think I personally immediately like pick and choose things that I was like, oh, it's because of this.
Same.
Like make up excuses.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, this wasn't on my study guide. Well, you should have been studying everything that you've been given in class.
The study guides.
Yeah.
Tricked us too much.
Yeah. So I would, you'd study so hard, and then when you're picking these things and making like excuses, that is like something that happens because you think you failed. Like, because you're getting defensive.
Yeah.
No one's saying anything to you.
No.
The teacher.
No.
She just handed you the test back. Like she
just types that number in. She doesn't care.
She just marked if it was right or wrong. Like, it's not her fault you got it wrong.
No.
And then like I just blame everything else, and that's like an insecurity in my own mind, because I know I let myself down. And it's like something I'm trying to like push past.
Yeah.
And then maybe later when I'm in my room, I'm like, man, that sucks.
Yeah.
So that was my example, just like from a school perspective. I think letting others down, I mean, my mom was a stickler for grades.
Same. Don't even get me started.
Yeah. I was grounded for the first time ever. My one and only time being grounded is because I got an 89 in a class.
Yeah. So that
I wasn't even in high school yet.
That B, the middle school B.
Yep. In math.
Plenty of conversations like that in my household. So don't worry, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I called my coach crying because I wasn't allowed to go to practice that day because I didn't finish a homework assignment yet, and I said I was going to do it after practice. Mom said that wasn't acceptable, and I would be calling him with tears in my eyes saying I was not attending practice that day because I had to finish my homework. But you know,
go her
we
low
learn
key.
from it.
Like
yeah.
that's horrible. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, she always made me call my coaches.
Yeah, that's true.
On my own.
Okay, that's horrible.
I left my uniform once in Indianapolis in the hotel. It was gone. I'm literally bawling. I'm like, oh my god. So I call my coach. I'm like, Coach T, I'm so sorry. Like, I left my uniform. And I'm like crying on the phone. And he starts laughing at me. He's like, that's all right, Anna. Like, just get you a new one. It's all right. I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, hang up the phone. I'm still crying. Which, that's low-key an example of letting myself and failing to be responsible.
That. Yeah.
And honestly, in my head, I just think that I also resort to others' opinions way more than my own. Like,
I agree.
I was like, oh my gosh, my team is going to think I'm so dumb. I'm not going to be able to play in our next game because I'm not going to have my uniform. My coach is going to get so mad at me. And that's all the emotions and thoughts that I think that literally just start spiraling from one moment of failure that you have.
And then, like, you end up calling the coach and it's like, oh, it's not as deep as I thought it was going to be. Because you make up these scenarios in your brain that you think is going to happen because, like, you failed. And then none of them are ever right.
Yes. And then it keeps growing. The failure keeps growing. And honestly, it does not matter that much.
Yeah.
And also, these scenarios that we should be building are ones that we need to also work on reframing, I feel like, because you're saying, like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this, blah, 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 blah. But then you need to finish that sentence with something positive that it's going to get better. Like, this is a failure that you're going to overcome and grow from.
It's just happening right now. It's not happening forever. And I think that's something that people should really
Yeah, I agree. And also,
think about.
I think that even people of influence should think of that a lot, like parents, teachers, coaches, because especially at a young age, we're influenced so much on what failure is and within the expectations that they set for us. And sometimes, granted, they're harsh because you need to learn from them. They want you to learn, but sometimes there needs to be that separation of, okay, it's okay. Like, I'm going to be a little upset because you did fail, you did cause a problem, you did do something wrong, but it's okay. We're going to learn from this together, and I still love you regardless.
Yeah, I do think there's a line of, like, you know, obviously you're parenting them, but also you're not, like, trying to make them believe that the world is this scary place that if you mess up one time, like, you're done. Like, which, I mean, like a job, I guess you're fired. But, you know.
There's certain things that failure is like, all right, but those are the extreme measures that
which is
don't
what the
happen in
parents
everyday
could
life.
Be teaching their children, but I think, like, those, I was actually thinking of the word harsh, and then you said it, and I thought you were in my brain for a second.
Yeah, we have little houses in each other's brains sometimes.
Those harsh, like punishments or, like, guidelines kind of make, I know when I was younger, I was so scared to mess up. Like, I had, like, anxiety at age 8 years old because I'm scared of messing up. And even if I did mess up, it would almost, like, trickle me into lying, which is a bad habit.
Honestly, making the excuses too, and, like, coming up with all these little things that you didn't mess up because you didn't want to let others down.
And that puts me in, like, a negative headspace because I'm, like, almost like a false reality too, because I'm lying, and I'm just like, I'm lying to myself, I'm lying to other people. I'm like, no, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
But, like, I did. It was my fault.
The smirk, like, no, I'm sorry. Eyes are watering as you're smiling.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's, like, something that parents should maybe ease back on a little bit. I mean, I'm not a parent. You're not a parent, but, you know.
We don't know what we're doing at all, but this is just kind of, we're just speaking from our own experiences.
I was going to say, I feel like that's valid, that we're speaking from our own experiences of being a child to a parent at one point.
But then again, like, we'll become parents and we'll probably do things that our kids may make a podcast and be like, I hated when my mom did this. And it'll be like, yeah, okay, you got better from it. Yeah. But still, like, I do think it's cool to be able to learn from this, and then hopefully we can carry it. And we hope that you all take this into your lives and kind of our experiences and what we're kind of talking about and can relate and reflect on your own.
Yeah, I think also maybe, like, if you hit, you know, a time where you're like, man, I'm in this slump, like, I failed, I messed up really bad, like, kind of just think about it and be like, will this affect me in a year, maybe even a month, maybe even a week? Like, is this going to affect my life? And I'm going to assume the answer is going to be no. And then, like, yeah, it sucks right now, and you'll get past it, though, and you'll be better from that experience. So,
and I think we need to create a better relationship with failure. Yes. Because we should think of failure as almost like a purple.
I think, like, learning. Oh,
like
you're
a color.
thinking colors.
I'm thinking of the colors. Okay, like, black and red right now because it's so negative and so just something that you don't ever want to even confront because you're like, oh shoot. Like, you know something's wrong when you fail. And even as athletes, like, this happens every day probably.
Every single day. Every time you make a mistake, everyone is going to make a mistake.
You give
regardless.
the ball away and you're like, oh shoot, I failed. And I'm a really bad guilty of this where I start mumbling. Like, I get really mad if something happens. And then I have gotten a lot better at just moving forward with that. But in the moment, I get really angry and will say some not nice things to myself under my breath. But I was still at practice. I'm sure, I would say 80% of the time the coaches weren't even watching when that happened or did not think about it because something else was happening. Life is moving too fast in both athletics and I think in life. Like, it's moving way too fast. There's not enough time to focus on those types of failures, so why should you let them impact you so much?
And I also think in life and in sports in general, if you're not failing, like, you're not doing something right.
No.
You're not taking risk. You're not taking chances. You're not living your life to the fullest.
No.
So you're not succeeding if you're not failing, really.
No. Because they go hand in hand.
They go, like, seriously hand in hand. Like, yeah, I can't even stress that enough. If you're not failing, you're not succeeding. And if you're not succeeding, I guess you're not really failing either.
Yeah, you're just kind of staying
The
stagnant.
same.
Yeah. And we kind of wrote this we were just kind of preparing for the episode again, and we wanted to emphasize that you need to allow yourself the permission to fail.
That was a great thing that we saw. Like, grant yourself the permission because at the end of the day, you're the one that's in charge of yourself and your brain. You might think like, oh, I can't get out of my head. Yes, you can. Just stop.
Yeah.
Just take a second.
Easier said than done.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yes, you can. Stop.
You're
failing at being out of your head.
Knock that off.
But yeah, like, I think also so many people are handed the tools to do this, and you try like once, and then it's like, all right, that was too hard. I don't want to do that. But honestly, you will be so much better by being able to, even the things we're talking about, and like you said, you talked about this moment of failure that happened, and you feel better for it, 2 years later?
Yeah.
So being able to reflect on your own experience and being able to understand that and reframe how we're be appreciative of failure. Like, it is something that's going to make you better, and it's going to make you more well-rounded because people that have those skills of adversity are going to be so much better off in athletics, which a lot of our listeners are in athletics, but also in life because everyone continues to move forward and failure is not avoidable. So
I think you can allow failure the access to be in your life, obviously, but you cannot allow it the access to, like, take over your life.
It can't dictate what you're doing.
Yes. Yeah, failure.
Yeah.
Get out of here,
Take that.
dictator.
We're going to start crossing. No, we can't cross it out because we need to acknowledge it, but we're just going to give it a little smiley face at the end because it needs to have a better positive connotation because in the end, that's how you learn.
Yeah, at the beginning of this episode, I put failure in red. Now it's in light purple because now we've learned how to, like, deal with it and live with it.
And by experiencing it, you can have so much more fun of a life, honestly.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be happier, you're going to be more appreciative of everything. Like, if some small thing that happened at practice today I was still thinking about, it's like, well, now I'm going to go to sleep angry. I'm going to get a bad day of sleep. It's going to impact my day tomorrow. And honestly, should it? No,
yeah.
It shouldn't.
It should not.
Because it does not really matter that much.
It doesn't. And I think you can also, our past episode of motivation. Oh my God, I keep burping. You can turn, like, the failure that you're feeling into motivation, and that turns it into success. Like, if you just let the failure, like, simmer in your head, you're not really helping your case by improving or anything. But once you, like, I missed that PK, I went to the fields and I started, like, practicing PKs by myself because I was like, that's not happening again.
I remember that on your TikToks. Like, in your come practice with me PKs, finish with PKs.
Yeah, and that's why I did that because I remembered a time where I thought that I let everyone else down and I let myself down, so I didn't want it to happen again. Yeah,
and you made yourself better with those practices, not even just in PKs, but your mental.
My mental, because I know I can overcome anything that, like, happens to me. So
I also think a different avenue of this though too is, like, when you have these goals, but you want to change them. That's not failure.
Yeah.
I don't think that's failure.
I don't think so either.
Have changed my major 3 times, and I have changed my path so many different times, but it's a very hard thing. Don't get me wrong. Payne and I were talking about this earlier. I've talked about this multiple times with other people.
Yeah.
But just because I've changed what I want to be doing, I didn't fail by not achieving the other 2 things that I wanted to do. And also, again, you have so much time to succeed in that again. And I didn't fail by not doing that. I just switched.
Yeah.
And I haven't failed in anything yet because first of all, I didn't even try it. So did I fail? No. But I think that that's also a mindset that needs to be adjusted, because if people don't accomplish something that they were planning on doing, even like in school, even in just other goals in life, I feel like lifting even, or just a new hobby. If you end up not liking a hobby that you wanted to learn, but you changed it and wanted to try something else, I think that's just as valuable as failing. It's not failing, but I think it's just as valuable.
I agree. And also, I think because like, even if you do stray away from the original plan, it's not even that, like, I feel like this kind of is where fear overtakes everyone else, because they're scared to stray away from it in case they fail. But also, and if they're so good at that original path or that original plan, they're so good at it, so why would they like change? But also in their mind, they're kind of like, but what if I did this? Like that kind of is more appealing to me. And I think like staying in your route is fine, you know, but also changing your route, you're also like, just because you're good at that doesn't mean you can't be good at this. Like,
or try new things and fail those things.
Trial and error, like seriously, because what prevents you from trying that new thing and then going back?
Yeah.
Like, do what you want.
Yeah.
And if it's like, I think it's also has to do with peers and like them judging each other. Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah.
Easier
it's your life. And you can have the people that support you.
Yeah.
Focus on what they're telling you, because in the end, they'll tell you what they think, but in the end, they will support you. If they're supposed to be a supportive individual in your life. If they're the right
person in your life.
Then they'll support you no matter what.
Right.
They might be like, okay, if you want to do that, with a little hesitation, but if you choose to do that, they're going to be there for you, and I think that's important too in the journey of both motivation and failure.
And if you work hard, you'll succeed, like doing that. You will fail too, but
that's the part of it that's so important, and not being scared of that.
Right.
Because fear of failure is something so real and so something that we've kind of been discussing this whole episode, that we need to confront and coexist with failure, because we're going to let failure dictate us, and that's just not...
Right.
Failure is light purple, and it has a smiley face next to it.
Yeah, because also if you think about it, if you fail at something, first off, it makes a better story for later. Second off, you can like go out, like once you, maybe if you have children, you can go and tell them these stories, and it can make them more comfortable in who they are, because they know that someone they look up to, I mean, you could just say this to a child, like someone they look up to so much is also failing. So it kind of like
it makes it normalized too.
Them. Yeah.
Yes. And I really like the color analogy. And I think it really, because I think this is something that can be taught from a young age, which I think that is not taught about enough, is the acceptance of failure.
I think people are learning more about how to speak their minds. So I agree. Think it's like,
oh yeah,
it'll be coming soon. Like obviously we're learning more about how to speak our minds. We started this podcast to do so. So
yeah, and kind of help others be comfortable in speaking their mind and in their own process of, because mentally it is such a hard thing to kind of accept all of these topics that we're talking about and recognize that all of them are happening simultaneously too.
And even if you're listening to this right now, I know you think like, obviously it's really easy for us to talk about it, and we still do need to apply these things. We're not perfect. We need to do these things too. But I know you're listening to this and you're just like, well, I could do that. Like that's easy. Yeah. Okay, then do it. Let's see. Like test it out.
We know that everyone at some point is held back by the fear of failure. And they're and that's there's normal. Things right now in my life that I'm scared to do because I'm going to fail in them. Like when we have to pick a place to live, it's easier to just go home and be at home. But then at the same time, what would happen if I went and lived this place and tried this job?
Yes.
But you're scared to fail, and you're scared
that's actually a big fear of mine. So that's really
exactly living somewhere else, even living far from just the hometown is scary.
And you're and your home, which is like the people in it. Your
that
community.
You rely on and are your support. Yeah. It's crazy. It's a crazy world, and that's why we understand it's so hard to face these thoughts and reframe our thinking and use just better thoughts, I feel like, and better just understanding of ourselves to kind of conquer these fears and better ourselves. But in the end, that's what we all need to do. And if we all do it together, I think it'll be so much easier to support each other in that journey too. So like next time you hear me at practice yelling at myself, just be like,
remember what we talked about.
Yeah. Hey, purple. Just say like purple to me.
Purple, smiley face.
Purple, smiley face. I'll be like, oh, you're right. And then I'll just keep running. And
yeah. Well, I hope if like anyone takes anything out of like our podcast in general, not even just this episode, it's just like, don't be scared to try new things. Don't be scared of life. Don't be scared to live. That should be like our motto. Yeah. Don't be scared to live.
Yes. And just like, truly you only live once. Like, just, it's so much better being in a happy mood than in a sad mood. And failure is a very big
part of
culprit. That. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. A very big culprit in making people not live a happy life. And, you know, it's like happy wife, happy life, but I'm always, you know, you guys be happy, so it's like that analogy, but just happy you, happy dudes. Everyone's happy. Okay, if anyone can think of anything better, let me know. But it's like you being happy makes your life happier. And being able to understand yourself, being able to kind of apply what we talk about and have a conversation with us and be able to reflect on what we're talking about, I think will better all of us.
Yeah, I agree. I hope you guys took some knowledge from this episode, and we can't wait to continue this podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.